What's up, y'all? Marlon Saunders here, back live on the Marlon Saunders Show. Man, I'm having fun. I love this show. I don't just love it because I'm the one doing it, although that's a big reason behind why I love it. But that's not the only reason. I love it because I just have fun. I have fun on Saturdays. I like getting up, coming in, talking to y'all. I hope you listening. I hope you're not talking while I'm talking and all that kind of stuff. I just love being here. I'm here today, Santa Clarita's hometown station, AM 1220. I'm here today with Ann Kendricks. She has launched this nonprofit organization designed to help you make you a better you. Listen, you can only be the best you that you can be. You can have mentors. You can have people you look up to. Growing up, I loved Michael Jackson. And you say what you want. I'm still a huge Michael Jackson fan, so back off me. I love him. Love him. Michael Jackson, man, that dude right there changed he didn't care about the length of his pants. He didn't care about his glitter socks. Wore one glove. Wore tape over his fingers. He didn't care. Got the hair changed. He did not care and walked out on stage and did his thing. I love Michael, but you know what I understood as a young age? There's only one Michael Jackson. I can love Michael, admire Michael, look up to Michael, even try to dance like Michael, sing like Michael, but there's only one Michael Jackson. With that being said, there's only one you. You are here to leave a footprint too. You're here to change something too. You are here to leave a legacy, to leave something behind that makes this world a better place. And that's exactly what Amazing You is designed to help you do. It's designed to help you tap into you. Sometimes our greatest enemy is the inner me. So it's designed to help you tap into you so that you can be the best you that you can possibly be, all while admiring somebody else, looking up to other people, making sure that you are being you. And so Ann Kendricks, she started this Amazing You life coaching, and we're here talking to her today. I understand that we have a caller that's on the phone. Before we go any further, let's go to the phones. Tiffany is on the phone. Let's go to the caller. Tiffany, how you doing?
Hi, Marlon. How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Oh, just wonderful. I had a question for your guest there. Ann is her name?
Yes, Ann Kendricks.
Okay, and I also wanted you to know I love your show, and ever since you've been on, I pay attention closely. It's been amazing.
Oh,
just
thank
awesome.
you. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yes, sir. So, Ann, I have a little situation that I like a little help with.
Okay.
I've got two incredible, amazing boys, and they spend a lot of time on video games. They spend a lot of time watching their own little personal cell phones and so forth, and I believe that I've lost them to all of this whole thing with not communicating and not being able to actually talk to me about things that's going on in the inside of them. And I was wondering, can you kind of help me with that?
Oh, well, thank you so much for calling in, first of all. And I just want to say that is something that is so common to our teenagers and young adults. That's how they communicate. I would suggest that you set aside a time, a family time, maybe a dinner time, maybe a time in the evening where you do have a chance to connect. And you start to make a pattern of, back in the day we used to have dinner time. Everybody had to be in by dinner. Everybody had to sit at the table at dinner time. And that was when you connected.
Yeah.
It's very hard, especially with boys and men, to have a conversation about how was your day. They usually give one-word answers and that kind of stuff. What I would suggest is you make it, what was the best thing that happened to you today? What is the worst thing that happened to you today? And that can be a part of your conversation. Doesn't have to be long. The attention span usually isn't there, but it'll get them used to having a good conversation.
Okay. I was wondering because I kind of felt like I lost the whole battle with the communicating, and how they get into around their people that they like, but they want to talk to them, but they don't want to talk to me.
Well, I would start simply and just ask those questions. The other thing I want to say about when you're talking to young adults and to teenagers is hit it and quit it. That's my philosophy. Don't try to drone on about, you should do and back in my day and all that stuff, because they will click you off. But
Okay.
if you say, if you figure out what you want to say it in 2 sentences and then quit it, they will
Okay.
listen to that and let that marinate.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thanks
that
for
helps
calling
me.
in.
Tiffany, thank you so much. I appreciate you calling in. Thank you so much. Have a great rest of the day. Thank you for listening. You're awesome, Tiffany. I appreciate you. A friend of mine said that he was telling his son, he said, you need to learn how to play outside. You're always on your Xbox. Why don't you get off and why don't you learn how to play outside? And he said his son got up and started packing up the Xbox. He said, what are you doing? He said, I'm going to play outside. Well, he was packing up his Xbox to go take it and play outside. And he said, that's not what I'm talking about. Back in the day, we used to actually play outside, hide and go seek and tag and all those kinds of things. And today's generation, they don't know what it's like to actually play outside. So that's great advice on kind of returning to some of the things that we did back in the day. When I was growing up, my parents, my mom made dinner. We'd sit around, or my dad made dinner. We'd sit around the what we call the breakfast nook or the dinner table, and we would all sit there, all 5 of us, and have dinner or have breakfast. And my mom and dad would say, "How was your day? What's going on?" And they could look in our eyes and see something's either right or something's wrong. And so we kind of need to return to some family time. I'll get back to that in a minute. Let's go back to the phones. We have another caller on the phone. Who is it? I know who it is, but I want to surprise everybody. Who's on the phone right now?
This is Shy.
Hey, how are you?
Hi, Catherine.
Hello.
I'm so excited for you. I first wanted to say that I'm very, very happy for you and just so excited for you. I think this is fantastic, and I know that anyone that connects with you is going to be truly, truly blessed.
Thank you.
My question, you actually kind of answered a piece of it with the caller from the last question, Donna, I believe that was. But I had a question regarding, like, preventative measures. So I know that, like, you work with children and their families that are in, like, current struggles and challenges. Mm-hmm. But my question was, what are preventative things that we can do as parents outside of just going to church? So I know church is wonderful, and children's church and all of those things are really, really, awesome. But just what are other things that we can do with our children that would, hopefully help prevent them going down some of these paths?
Well, that's a great question. I think one of the things that we don't do, and one of the things that is a challenge for a parent, is sometimes we let our ugly show a little too much. And then when we see it come out in our children, we're very disappointed. And what we try to teach them is so very abstract. They really have to see it. We say things like, you're supposed to give your parents respect. Well, if they've never seen respect played out,
right,
and if they've seen, mom call dad an idiot or dad call mom dumb, then they're going to follow that same road. They're going to be thinking that in their brain. So a lot of times we have a tendency to not say, we have a tendency to say a little too much. Mm-hmm. If you don't want your child to be an adult, don't have adult conversations with them. If you don't want them to feel like they're parenting you, don't show, all of your vulnerability to them. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And I don't mean lie, because mm-hmm. you want to be able to show them, this is how you deal with challenges. This is how you deal with disappointment. This is how you deal with a broken heart. You show them in a very positive but honest way, so that they too can get through it. It's like, this is not the time to fall apart. This is the time to call on the people that have strength, to be surrounded by people that can help you through that challenge. That's how you deal with challenges.
So do you recommend for, like, parents that, I know some parents too, that they don't even know where to begin, right? Mm-hmm. So when they see, like, the onset of the child that's maybe being a little bit more disrespectful or mm-hmm. hanging out with children that are other influences. Like, what do you do? Like, is it, do you think there's specific books you could read? Do we reach out to, like, services like yourself, as soon as we see that the problem is surfaced, or it looks like it could be a problem or an issue?
What I would do, especially in this age of technology, is I would find there are so many good videos out there that address absolutely specific subjects. And that's what I would recommend, is that, there's a new movie coming out that's called Inside Out. I am going to take some of my clients to see that movie, just so we can start the discussion about feelings, about what to do when you have that feeling.
Yeah.
So you kind of map out the strategy, go ahead of them, say, I know this is coming up. I know, take those teachable moments and say, you know what, I'm not sure what to do about that, but let's investigate it together. And I think they will grow to appreciate that more.
Okay. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you so much, Shar. We appreciate you for even taking the time to call in. Thank you so much. A lot of times too, I think we miss what lies below the surface. For instance, I'll say this, and then we'll go to break. You have a kid that's very talkative, and we'll be quick to say, "You talk so much. Stop talking so much. Why you talk so much?" Well, you might be raising a public speaker. You might be raising somebody, that may be the next Dr. Martin Luther King, the next Les Brown, and the list goes on and on and on. So instead of looking at what's going on the surface, look beneath that. We'll talk a little bit more about that when we come back. Y'all, go get something to drink. Warm up your food. You done warmed it up 3 times now. I'll see you in a couple minutes. We're going to commercial. We'll be right back. What's up, y'all? Here I am. It's Dwight Jackson on the Marlon Saunders Show. I'm totally kidding. It's Marlon Saunders on the Marlon Saunders Show. That would make no sense at all. Sometimes you got to do stuff because it makes sense. And it makes sense to be Marlon Saunders on the Marlon Saunders Show. Welcome back. This is Santa Clarita's hometown station, AM 1220. Call us, y'all. I love the callers that are calling in. Tiffany called in at first. Shar called in. And we're going to talk about a conference that Charlone is actually having. But call us, 661-298-5487. That's 661-298-5487. I know the phones are lighting up. We're going to try to get to everybody, but I can't make any promises because we only have about 10 minutes left in the show. Before we move any further, I have to thank our sponsors and people that are helping us put this show on and make this show possible. Tarina Thomas, you hear her commercial during the break, from Entourage Hair Salon. Tarina Thomas, off the chain. If you're looking for a great person to hook up your hair to make you look like Beyonce or whoever you want to look like, Diana Ross, I don't know. I'm not a beautician. Whoever you want to look like, Toni Braxton, I don't know. She can do it all. Diane Carroll, I don't know. Give me some names. Halle Berry, there you go. At first I thought you said Isaac Hayes. I was like, wait, what? And so Tarina can do it though. She can hook you up. So hit up Tarina Thomas. Just Google Entourage Hair Studio, or Hair Salon rather, here in Valencia. I Define Me. Shocky, that's my girl right there. Y'all log on to that. Listen to how it's spelled. IDEFYNEME.com. I Define Me. You see the theme there? Amazing You, we're talking about today. The conference we'll talk about with Charlona in a minute. And I Define Me. It's all about tapping into how God made you, how God created you. So go to IDefineMe.com. And then the last sponsor I want to give a shout out to today. These are not our only sponsors, but these are the ones I want to give shout outs to today. Latte Life. Charlona Merritt, there's a conference coming up called Pain to Power. If you've been listening to this show consistently, we had her on maybe 2-3 weeks ago, and she really gave us some awesome insight on pain to power. with that being said, that conference is coming up August 14th, 15th, I believe it is, down in Hawthorne, at the Ayers, is that how you say that? Ayers Hotel, Manhattan Beach, rather. The Ayers Hotel, Manhattan Beach, on Friday, August 14th, Saturday, August 15th. Listen, here's where you're going to get some really good information. You need to log on to www.lattelife.com. Or .org, lattelife.org, LATTE, life, LIFE.org, and find out information about that conference. I'm going to be there, and Kendricks is going to be there. In fact, why don't you talk a little bit about your relationship with that conference and what you'll be doing there?
Well, we do have a lot in common, Shar and I. We do want to see people empowered, and we want to see people freed from those barriers that keep us from achieving what our purpose is. And so we just have two different ways of going about it. But I am honored to be able to work with Shar and to be a part of this conference. And I will have a table, and you'll be able to come over, meet, talk, take pictures, whatever it is that you'd like to do, and maybe discuss how maybe we can make an appointment. I don't know if I mentioned before, but you have an opportunity for a free consultation, and then we can kind of map out a strategy, let you know what I can do for you and what we can do together, how we can work together, and an approximate idea of how long we'll be working together. So I'm just looking forward to meeting everybody. I have so many friends, and I have such passion for people. Everything that I've done, as I was looking back on my resume, everything that I've done has been having to do with helping people, either in the medical field, in the mental health field, in ministry. I was an x-ray tech at one time. I sold property at one time. But it was all about people. It was all about helping people go to the next stage in their lives or the next level in their lives. So I think we share that passion, and I'm looking forward to working with her and being at the conference.
That's awesome. Again, lattelife.org gives you all the information you can need. Let's help somebody else. Let's go to the phone. Robin's on the phone right now. Robin, are you there?
Hello.
How you doing?
Hi, Marlon. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. I had a question for Ann. And my question, because we were talking about children, about kids and young adults. My question is, I have a friend who always talks down to her son, and I wanted to ask, how would I handle that situation?
Well, if you have ever heard some statistics about talking negative things to your children, it takes about 10 positive things to somewhat erase the one negative thing that's said to them. And that should be something in a very friendly way that you might want to share with that person. Because you and I know that at any time in our lives when someone says something negative, no matter if they said hundreds of positive things, what we dwell on is that negative stuff. Mm-hmm. And the fear or the challenge may be that trying to get them to forget that rather than fulfilling the prophecy. So I would strongly encourage you to encourage her that you don't realize what damage you are doing. Sometimes you have to point out things that are important to keep your child safe, but at the same time, you get better results if you ignore the negative behaviors and really reinforce those positive behaviors. Even if it's the smallest thing, if you can say, I really like the way you put your shoes in the closet. Mm-hmm. That was great. I mean, because a lot of times kids are just seeking attention, and they do whatever they have to do to get your attention, positive or negative. So it might be better to focus on what's right than to focus on what's wrong, because that might make the child more apt to do what would be what you want them to do. Does that help?
That does. Thank you so much.
Oh, good. Thank you so much for calling.
Robin, thank you so much for calling. Thank you for listening. We appreciate you. Do we have another call on the phone? Let's stay on the phone. Tanya, let's go to the phone. Tanya's on the phone. Tanya, how you doing?
Hello?
How are you? You're on the
Beth, how are
radio.
Hey, Tanya.
Hey, I just have a quick question about.
Uh-oh, we can't hear you.
Oh, I have a question about how do you deal with working with millennials and their short attention span? I work with a millennial, and she's constantly on her cell phone. And I am sort of over her a little bit and training her, but it's just frustrating to try to train someone with such a short attention span, and she's always, like, on the phone, and I can't get her off of it.
I get it.
Help.
This is their way. This is their way of communication. This is their way of life. They focus so much on what's going on in the world and how they compare to the world and those kinds of things. But I think I would really try to set aside some time, schedule, if you will, some time with them and say, okay, this time let's agree to put our phones down or turn our phones off and let's just have a conversation and, you know, make it about them and speak to them about what's in, you know, what's going on in their minds, what they want to do and where they see themselves. And this will be an opportunity for you to speak into their lives. Their attention spans are short, so you have to keep your answers and your questions. You can't go off on a tangent because you'll lose them. But I would really recommend that you designate or schedule a time. Let's get together at 6 o'clock on Tuesday, and we're going to have a little conversation, and or play a game or something like that.
Does that help, Tanya?
Yes, it does.
Awesome. Thank you for calling in. We appreciate you.
All right, thanks a lot.
Of course. I know one thing. We need more time. Speaking of time, we need more time for the Marlon Saunders Show. The other thing is we need to bring you back for sure. I don't think the phone has ever rang this much, and we can't get to everybody. But we need to bring you back because people have questions. They want to know, you know, especially with this generation. And behaviors are taught. Behaviors are demonstrated. Behaviors are shown to our children. They are not the root of the problem. They are the fruit of the problem. And so we have so many questions on how to make this next generation better. And thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you for
You have
having
helped
me.
so many people. Y'all, we got to go. I'll see you next Saturday, though, the Marlon Saunders Show in the new location. So instead of calling, why don't you come down there and just hang outside the studio and kick it with us for a minute. I love y'all. The Marlon Saunders Show, Santa Clarita's hometown station, AM 1220. Have a safe weekend, y'all. And I'll see you next Saturday. God bless. Love y'all.